ألا من كنت مولاه فهذا علي مولاه.
History tried its hardest to delete Imam Ali's merits. And sometimes in the Shi'i community, even we fell trapped to that. Someone says, how? Surah Al-Adiyat, Surah 100, if you were to do a survey of 100 Shia in London today, 95 of them would not know it's revealed in honor of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Surah Al-Adiyat is only 11 or so ayahs. But 95% of the Shia who read this surah, forget the others. The others were brought up in a world where you don't give that much merit to him. And if you do, you do it quickly. Whereas with us, I was amazed to notice that when I would discuss Surah Al-Adiyat with people, and I would ask them, do you know who was the victorious one in reference to Surah Al-Adiyat? They're like, Sayyidina, what do you mean? I said, Imam Ali alayhi salam, one of his greatest performances was which battle? Hunayn, Khaybar. I said, how about that as-Salasil? I said, what? I said, that as-Salasil. One of the greatest performances on the battlefield, which Allah swears by in the Quran, was in this surah. Imam Ali alayhi salam's performance in a battle known as that as-Salasil. Let me explain what happened. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa had 5 different issues to deal with surrounding him a couple of years before he died. Medina had now been established. When your country is established, don't you have enemies on the borders? Enemies can be on the borders, enemies can be within. Sometimes you have enemies within. So the first group of enemies he has to deal with are who? Al-Munafiqun. We agree? Al-Munafiq wants to cause problems in your state. He wants Medina to fall. Second group of people we have to deal with, the ex-cons. Being in prison. What do I mean being in prison? Being in prison in the sense that these are the ones who you said, you are tulaqa, yallah, get out. Now you've got to deal with them. The ones istaslimu, they became Muslim in the 8th year after Hijrah, a couple of years before Rasulullah died. Hada, when he became Muslim because he believed in Islam, or because, you know what, let me just become a Muslim, and then tarabbas will begin in between the circles. Yeah. So you had, for example, the Munafiqun, number 1. You had the ex-cons, Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan, Amr ibn al-As. These guys were enemies of Islam for years. 8th year after Hijrah, Mecca is opened, all of them become Muslim. Third group I have to deal with are who? The Meccans. They're always going to be a problem. They're still. Fourth group I have to deal with are the Jews. The Jews in Medina. There's an issue. They want the whole government to fall. What's Khaybar? What's Qurayza? Fifth group I have to deal with, who are they? The Romans. At that time, who's the biggest threat to Islam? Rome. Rome, the Christian missionaries, they were a major threat to the religion of Islam. Therefore, when they're a major threat to the religion of Islam, the Romans had links with some of the Arabs. They're like, listen, Muhammad's got so powerful. What are you guys doing? And the Arabs would tell them, listen, we've tried everything. We've tried to go through his companions, fight them in battle. We've tried to do treason, deceit. We're not getting through. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had got through Badr. Just about got through Uhud. Got through Khandaq. Got through Khaybar. Got through all of these battles. This time, he receives a report. What's the report saying? Ya Rasulullah, we have a problem. So what is it? Say, Ya Rasulullah, Prophet of God, 12,000 of the Arabs of Sulaim, Bani Sulaim, are ready to attack Medina outright. How many? 12,000. Are ready to attack Medina. And they want your blood. Because now they cannot take this anymore, that you've won every battle. They want to have your blood. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa what did he do? There are some wars he leads. What do we call them in Arabic? A war led by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Ghazwa. Ghazawat, Ghazwa is a war led by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. What if Rasulullah doesn't lead a war? What's it called? Sariyah. Ghazwa is a battle led by who? Personally, he's at the battlefield. What if he doesn't come? Sariyah. Sometimes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would be at Ghazwa, Ghazwat Badr, Ghazwat Uhud. Why do you always say Ghazwa? He's like, why do they call it Ghazwa? Because he's there leading it. Sometimes no, he sends someone to be in charge. If the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, his family, sends someone to be in charge of a battle, we call it Sariyah. When these people were coming to attack, they were now working with the Romans. And they were working with the other Arab tribes. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sometimes what would he do? Sometimes he would already have people informing him. You know how if you lead a country, on the borders, you're always checking who's doing what. Customs, immigration, you're checking everything. You're checking all the paperwork. They came to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him and his family. And when they came, they said, you're going to have to deal with this. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not straight away just send the Sariyah. He sent, according to some opinions, 3 different ones. Because where were these people camped? They were camped about 150 kilometers from Medina. So they've all come. How many of them? 12,000. These are bloodthirsty Arabs. They want it. And the Romans have already told them, listen, you get him out, we give you high positions. When they came, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, the year before had already noticed how the Romans fight. Because the year before this battle, or around the same time as that is Salasil, just before it, you had the Battle of Mu'tah. Who died in that battle? Ja'far al-Tayyar. And so the Prophet had already been aware that the Romans are trying their hardest to finish Islam. Then Romans represent who? Christianity. And so they want to finish this new religion that is emerging. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to our traditions, he would cast lots sometimes to see who would lead the battle. If you choose so-and-so, you're favoring. If I always choose you, because I know you're the bravest, these guys will say, why you favor? So according to some opinion, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi used to sometimes draw lots, whoever comes out of the lot. Sometimes no. Maybe he sees someone who he thinks, let him go and be the one who represents us. Who did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi decide should go and lead? Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr went with a good few thousand men, maybe 4,000. Abu Bakr's record on the battlefield is virtually non-existent. And when I say this, I say it looking at Islamic history. As in, I'm not saying it because I want to cause any differences between people. At the end of the day, you want to follow who you follow, is up to you. I have never seen a moment on a battlefield where Abu Bakr stands up to Amr ibn Uwayd al-Amiri. Or when Abu Bakr did try and lead against Marhab, nothing happened. And I don't randomly follow who I follow. I look on the battlefields and I'm like, well, if you couldn't defeat Marhab and these, Abu Bakr went, he told them, you submit to the religion of Islam, or you live here within peace, otherwise we will fight you. Those guys straight away said, come on, let's do this. He went back. Some of the companions were, why are you going back? He said, I'm going back. I'm the best judge. Came back. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa was disappointed. Who led after him? Similar to Khaybar. Umar ibn al-Khattab took the banner. He said, I will take with me thousands of men and we will fight them. Umar ibn al-Khattab again on the battlefield, even before he became Khalifa, and even I would say after he became Khalifa. While Islam expands into different territories, you don't really see him in the midst of the battlefield. I will put forward and admit, you could see Khalid ibn Walid in the midst of a battle. You can't deny that. I cannot deny that there were others who were known as warriors. Umar ibn Khattab, no. image of Umar ibn al-Khattab is always created as if he is known for his bravery and so on. Again, Amr ibn Awid, marhab. Reality is they looked at him and said, nah. The third person to lead against these people was Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As, in the narration, supposedly tells the Prophet, I'll have these. I'll finish them. I am cunning, and truly he is. And I'll be able to find a way around them. Holy Prophet allows him, go. Abu Bakr went, came back, nothing. Umar went, came back, nothing. Amr ibn al-As goes, again, tries to fight them, again, cannot get through them. The Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family said, I'm going to give a banner to a man. When he goes on the battlefield, he does not run away. Farrar or the Farin. You can have Farin, who are people who run away from battle. Farrar, يفر, he just legs it. There is a man who is Karrar. غير Farrar. He don't run away. They once asked Imam Ali alayhi salam, why do you have a slow horse? Although this surah indicates that the speed of the horses they were using, I'm going to come to shortly. But once a person said to him, why, oh Ali, do you have a slow horse? He goes, firstly, I'm not going to run after anyone who's running away from the battle. So I don't need a fast horse. Nor will I ever run away from anyone who's... Imam Ali alayhi salam knew this is not going to be an easy one. When he knew it wasn't an easy battle, or he was in that mood for a ferocious war, Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam would see it in his eyes. That day, he said to her, get me my red horse and my Yemeni cloak. When he says that, that means I'm going to go into a battle which is going to be vicious. She looked at him and said, you sure you're going to be okay? He said to her, do not worry. And why would you worry if Allah grants me shahada? Is that not the best? But those intimate moments between Imam Ali and Fatima Zahra are very interesting, because although she is at the highest level of faith, it still shows you, yet not as high as him. Never put Fatima ahead of Ali. Imam Ali is Fatima Zahra's Imam. He says to her, do not worry. And if I do die on this battle, what's the name of the battle? That is Salasil. I asked you earlier, what's the best performance? You said Hunayn, you said Khaybar. Khaybar and Hunayn, Allah didn't swear by the way the battle happened in the Quran. He did by this. Imam Ali gets the red horse, Yemeni sheet or cloak, and now he's ready. Amr ibn al-As was of those who was now envious of the Imam. Why? Abu Bakr tried, nothing. Umar tried, nothing. Amr ibn al-As tried, nothing. This man, the Prophet says, doesn't run from battle. Already the feelings of animals. Amr ibn al-As already hates Ali ibn Abi Talib from before. Let's be very frank, my dear brothers and sisters. And if you don't believe me, just go later on to Saffin and you'll see how that hate continues non-stop. Oh, son of Nabigha. Of course, we don't call him Amr ibn al-As because in Surah Al-Kawthar we realized that wasn't his real dad. So, with Amr ibn al-As, what happens is that Amr ibn al-As, the son of Nabigha, starts to get jealous. Why? Because why is it that Imam Ali is leading? And also, number two, what does Amr ibn al-As begin to do? When you're fighting these Arabs, do you fight like anyone else fights? No, you got to think twice about how you enter. You don't just go straight in. You see, if they've already seen three guys come through the same way, what are they thinking? Another one is going to come through the same way. Imam Ali went completely opposite to the area where they are. Imagine there's a group of guys in that part of the road. You go and cross there. Hey bro, we're here. So what? He took the direction to Iraq. Amr ibn al-As writes a letter to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and makes a scene with the others. The first signs of the hiqd of Saqifah. He makes a scene. What's the scene that he makes? He makes the scene by saying, Ali cannot lead in these types of battles. Amr ibn al-As, in a way, has never been on Imam Ali's side in battle. So in a way, he's not really seen Imam Ali on his side, because always the other side. Imam Ali alayhi salam turns around and says, whoever obeys Allah and His Prophet comes with me. And whoever wants to obey another way goes with him. Normally, if you're going to prepare for a war, in the night, what are you going to do? In the night, what are you going to do when you're preparing for a war? You're going to? How about if you make plans to actually start moving in the night when the opposition's asleep? They thought Imam Ali taking the A406 means that he's missed the trick. They didn't realize you can see me walking towards there, because the moment you turn around and go back to your tents, I turn around at that moment. There's a particular angle of a roundabout where I can't see you anymore. But we're still in the roundabout. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved the performance of that man that night and day. Because there's an ayah here which says, all of you can see it clearly later on, فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا. He loved the performance of Imam Ali alayhi salam so much at that salasil, because he knew what an amazing performance it was, that he didn't just swear by that battle. He swore by the way the horses attacked furiously. The first first 5 ayahs are all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swearing by Imam Ali's performance that day. But through what? It doesn't say, I swear by Ali. It begins to talk about the scene describing to you the unbelievable momentum gathered just by the horses led by Ali ibn Abi Talib. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا. Al-Adiyat are female horses. The Arabs used to prefer the female horse. They're called mares, if I'm not mistaken, and they tend to be faster. There's not many of these horses, by the way. Don't think that Imam Ali alayhi salam led 150 soldiers in. I wouldn't say more than 10. Yeah, that's it. 10 versus 12,000. At Hunayn, 8 versus 4,000. And that's when Imam Ali is in that mood where it's just like, hey guys, you know what? Watch this. This is all about me now. There's a reason I am the sword of Allah, in contrast to others who were later named. وَالْعَادِيَاتِ. The female horses. The horses which are what? ضَبْحًا. What's ضَبْحًا? The breathing of a horse. Marat, when you're standing next to a horse, you don't hear much. But if you hear a horse galloping in full thrust, you hear the actual, what do they call it, like snorting of a horse? It makes that noise where you could tell it's in full movement. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you can imagine, this is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa is not at that salasil. This surah is revealed to him in Salat al-Fajr. He receives it and he pronounces it or recites it. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا. Can you imagine you being in Salat al-Jama'ah with Rasulullah hearing this? By the horses that are going so fast that you can hear their breathing. وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا. فَالْمُورِيَاتِ what? قَدْحًا. Al-Muriyati Qadha is that they are galloping so fast that the fire and sparks are coming out of the ground when this man's galloping to this army. Because that hoof, look at the description. Description is unreal. Description is unreal. The horses that are breathing, going through the opposition so fast that their hooves have sparks coming out of them. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا. So they ambush the opposition in the morning. Al-Mughirat is what? Mughirat is this whole idea of an ambush taking place. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا. An ambush that takes place in the morning. Why? Because I went past the roundabout. You guys thought that I'm going to go to bed. I ain't going to bed. I'm Ali ibn Abi Talib. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come through you guys the whole night. When you wake up, you're going to see my horse coming through you. You know what they used to always say? They used to always say that we look forward to Ali. Because all these stories about Imam Ali were going on for years. That there's a young man called Ali ibn Abi Talib and we can't wait to get him. Suddenly, I imagine those guys woke up and they're like, you know what, we're going to finish this guy off. Oh my God, who's that guy coming with that horse like that? And there's fire everywhere, sparks on the ground. وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا فَالْمُغْرِيَاتِ قَدْحًا فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا. In the morning we ambush them. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا. This is unbelievable. What's naq'a? Dust. Do you know what's happened? The way these horses are going so fast and the way this battle's happened, you can't even see the battle. There's just dust everywhere. And there's one man who's going through it. And that man, when he goes through a battle, he doesn't lose. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ. Bihi here is interesting, by the way. Bihi. Bihi means to go straight, immediately in. You don't hesitate. Straight into the ground, into the place where there's a war. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا. Naq'a is dust. It's gathered everywhere. In Khandaq it happened as well when he fought Amr ibn Wid. When they couldn't see what was happening, they saw him walk out, come back, walk out. And when they saw him, they said, what happened? He said, because he spat at me. I don't strike anyone who spits at me because that angers me. I only strike those who anger Allah. But you know, when anyone fights in the deserts, what you don't see because you can just see dust. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا. He went immediately into the middle of all of them. You see, it's one thing when I'm like, yeah, bro, come. I'll fight you now. Another is like, I'm in the middle of all of you. Come on. فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا. فَوَسَطْنَ, the middle area. He went right into that middle area of all of them. 120 from him alone dead. I can sit here in London 1,000 years later and say, Imam Ali is so great. Imam Ali alayhi salam, realizing his sacrifice is something we can never do. You can never understand. Because that day, the Romans, the hypocrites, the Meccans, the Jews, and who else was there? And the ex-convicts. They were all expecting that was the day it would end. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no. I swear by the horses of this man. And I swear by the sparks on the ground and the breathing of the horse and the dust as it gathered and how he stood in the middle of all of them. He was able to bring victory for the Muslims on that day. Why is it called that as-salasil? As-salasil is like chains. That is-salasil because he chained up the ones he caught and he's like, you're all coming back with me. And he chained them up. Because if you see Ali ibn Abi Talib on a horse when you've just woken up, you're going to get chained. You're not going to turn around to Imam Ali alayhi salam. That is salasil means he captured them, took them back. When he took them back, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi hugged him straight away. Because the surah Al-Adiyat was revealed to Rasulullah while he was in Fajr. When he hugged him straight away, tears were flowing from Imam Ali's eyes. You know what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi said? If it wasn't for the fact that I'm scared the Muslims will do to you what the Christians done to Jesus, I would praise you so much more that even the dust you walked on under your feet, people would find it a blessing to touch. That victory Allah swears by in the Quran, that is salasil.